Hi everyone, it's Will here. I'm having a blast learning how to program.
Hi, it's Emma. Let's have fun together today.
Hi everyone. Thank you for visiting MINPRO. Today we are going to talk about how to write a program.
MINPRO.
So, let's talk about how to write a program.
We've already written a lot of programs. Do we have to learn more?
Let's review the concept of programming and how to code that program that you've learned so far.
How are we going to review it?
Well, try to remember the order that we thought about the program. We'll compare how we create a Scratch program with a program made by an adult.
Isn't our program a lot simpler than an adult's program?
No, that's not necessarily true. You will use the programming that you learned with MINPRO. Have some confidence.
Doctor, you are so confident.
Of course. What do we always start with at MINPRO?
Let's see. Doctor, you always tell us what we're going to do in this session.
Kind of like what we're going to make?
That's right. The final product. That is our goal. In an adult's job, they set a goal first, too. Why that goal is set is also important.
Do you mean why we create something?
That's right. Such as why you are making the product or who wants the product. What, why, and for who you are making the product. Those are called the requirements of the program.
The word might be difficult, but I think I get the meaning.
The requirements are set so that the program can be created as intended.
Are there cases when the created program doesn't match the goal?
Yes, there are.
Wait, that's not good.
Why isn't the program as intended?
Sometimes the thoughts of the person making the program and the person using the program don't match.
Why don't you listen to what the user wants and make the program?
Well, in most cases, the user can't express all of their thoughts with words. And, it is difficult for the programmer to understand everything they heard without mistakes. There might be sections that weren't talked about or where thoughts differed.
It might not be possible to cover all of the thoughts, but we can forgive a few mistakes.
So for those sections that we can't forgive, we have to explain so that the programmer understands completely.
That's right. We call the document containing the instructions the required specifications.
So we have to write down what we definitely want the programmer to include?
That's right. The programmer can read the specifications. They can confirm, this is what you want, right? And the user can say, yes, that's what I want. If the user says, no, that's not right, the programmer can start over. When both the programmer and user say OK, the programmer starts making the program. At MINPRO, what do we do after we set our goal?
For tic-tac-toe, we thought about the role of the program.
Yes, like the promoter, the thinking computer, and the marks.
Dividing the entire goal into roles and combining them is called architecture design.
That's another big word that I don't know. What does architecture mean?
I've heard it before. Doesn't it mean building?
You're right. In Japan, they call it structure design. We are going to think of the program shape just like building a house. When designing a house, we have to decide how many floors, how many rooms, and how big the house will be.
We want to make a comfortable house, right?
That's right. Our goal is a comfortable house. The person building the house asks the person who will live in the house what kind of house they want to live in. Those needs are written in the required specifications. For example, a big living room where we can play with the children, or private rooms. Those ideas are included in the architecture design. The builder sketches the house, such as a two-storied house with a living room, dining room, kitchen, and bedrooms, and asks, Is this the type of house you want? If the person who will live in the house is satisfied, they move on to the next step.
So if they are not satisfied, the builder has to start over? That's a lot of work.
A first-rate designer can listen to the person who will live in the house, summarize the requirements, and make a design that satisfies them. The builder communicates with many people during their work. They talk to the person who will live in the house, have meetings with their company, and consult with the carpenters.
So, communication means to confirm what we're thinking.
Exactly. That's right.
So once the archi something is done, what do we do next?
After the architecture design, we think about the functions. For example, does the front door swing or slide open? Is the living room Western style or Japanese style? What does the kitchen look like? Will the windows have shutters? Is the bath fully automatic? This step is called the function design.
In our regular programming sessions, are these the things we decide while we're talking to you?
Yes, when making a program, we always learn something, like trigonometric functions and perspective.
Yes, we need to learn the methods used in the program. For the 3D game, we talked about perspective and timers.
We still haven't gotten to talking about writing the program.
Yes, Doctor, you always talk a lot.
I try to keep the explanation short.
It just takes time to make sure there are no misunderstandings, right?
It's an important step to make sure there are no mistakes in the design. We divide the design into 2 stages so that we don't have to think about roles and tasks at the same time. By dividing the work with different levels into 2 stages, you can avoid mistakes and errors.
I get it.
So once we finish the function design, do we write the code?
That's right. It's finally time for the carpenters. You're going to write the program code. In programming, the task of writing code is called coding.
When we combine blocks in Scratch, it's like assembling pillars and walls.
That's right.
But design seems like a lot of work. If it doesn't work with the program, we can delete it and rebuild it right away.
It is so easy to fix a program.
Do we need the design?
You're right. You can change a program easily. But, if you perform coding without a design, you'll have to create the program over and over. If you have a good design, you won't have to fix much. When you're writing a large program, the design will help you finish much faster.
I see. The design is really important.
Have we ever designed?
Well, you haven't written it down, but our conversations were designs. So like with the 3D game, we talked about the cat's size, how to calculate by dividing the z-axis number.
Or using a timer to limit the time?
That's right. The time limit is the architecture design. Using the timer to achieve the game over role is a function design.
MINPRO.
So once we're done building the house, or coding, what do we do next?
The person living in the house fills it with furniture, and we're done.
Wait a minute. We have to check whether the house was built like intended.
Can't you tell by looking at it?
There are lots of things to check, like do the doors open correctly, does hot water come out immediately, can you hear footsteps from the 2nd floor?
Oh boy! We have to worry about the small things.
Of course, you can't accept things you can't forgive.
Checking the product is called verification. The 2 of you just talked about something very important.
Do you mean checking before moving in?
No, I mean things you cannot forgive. When you start the check, you'll notice some things for the first time. If it's something like the shape of a light bulb, you can change it right away. But if the footsteps from the 2nd floor are loud, you can't change the structure very easily.
Isn't it obvious that you can't forgive loud footsteps from the 2nd floor?
Sure, it might be obvious, but everyone has a different level of tolerance. Even if the builder thinks this much noise is okay, the person living in the house might think it is really noisy. It's difficult to understand this difference.
Well, you could ask how much they can tolerate in the very beginning.
How many things are there that we think are obvious? Will, can you ask them all?
I can't. Noise doesn't bother me at all.
In actual work, we prepare a list of obvious things to check.
That seems like a lot of work.
It's important to put yourself in the user's shoes and think.
So it's the same for programming.
So when making a game, we have to think about what the player might find fun.
You act like you know everything, but can you do it?
I'll think about it.
Okay, once the check of the house is completed, what do we do next?
We should be done by now.
Do we have to make periodic inspections?
Spot on. I'm glad you noticed. After the house is completed, there is the operation, which means the people living in the house using the house. And there is maintenance, performed by the person who built the house. Maintenance means fixing deteriorated places and adding new functions so that the house can be used for a long time.
Is that like repainting the walls?
There are renovations too.
You are both correct. A program might not deteriorate, but we have to correct mistakes and add new functions.
I know. That's a version upgrade.
You're right.
What happens if you don't do this?
Well, the user might have trouble with the mistakes. If it's a game, they might get bored and stop playing. That might cause the popularity of the program to drop.
Wow, that's not good. Lots of work went into creating the program.
With a program, we can upgrade the version so the program can be used for a long time. Or we can create a new program to replace the older one.
Even Pokemon games keep getting newer.
It seems like a waste to get rid of the older games.
I don't throw away the old games. Sometimes I want to play them.
That must be because even the older programs are made thinking of the player.
It seems like you're trying to make this into a good story, but you just want to play games, right?
Oops. You caught me.
Okay, let's review today's session. The order of writing a program is, first, you have a goal. You check the requirements of the user and write them in the required specifications. Next, you design. When designing, you start with the architecture design to divide the entire program into roles. Then you move to function design for each task. The third step is coding. You write the actual program code. The fourth step is verification. Does the program match the required specifications that you wrote in the beginning? You must check that the obvious things work as intended. Then the user actually operates the product. Finally, there is maintenance. You must fix the mistakes and add new functions so that the user can continue using the product. If you make a new program, you need to delete the old program. You could call this the life of the program.
Life seems like an exaggeration.
But if you think about it, the program is born, moves, and then isn't used anymore. So it is a life.
Yeah, I guess so.
The programs we create at MINPRO are for small learnings, so the life is short. But the content stays in your head and is useful when you make your next program. That's why you have to learn various things to create better programs. I'm sure that you'll be able to create great programs.
I want to make a game that can be played for a long time.
You had better listen closely to what the players are talking about.
In the next session, we'll talk all about computers.
Bye bye.
See you next time.